Well, there you are. Again, Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today, we're talking about celebrity deaths. Yeah. We're going to focus on two deaths and how they kind of intertwine. It's just weird about celebrity deaths. We're going to do John Belushi and James Dane. Yeah, anytime a celebrity dies, of course, it's weird. They got to kick it up a notch, you know. They just can't like die in their sleep. No, they have to well, a performance, I guess. The last act, if you will. So yeah, let's start with James Dean. Um, so yeah, James Dean, Jimmy Dean, movie star. People think he only had one movie out while he was alive. He shot three. He had East of Eden out, and nobody. He really did at the time. I mean, he was he did well in East of Eden, but Rebel Without a Cause was the first one that came out after his death, and then Giant. So he was known around Hollywood. He raced in his spare time. Of course, he died in a car accident outside of Salinas, which is a weird area, and so James Dane. I mean, he got his poor spider. He strange thing about Dean. He hung out the Villanova on Sunset. Italian restaurant, been there forever. Well, guess what? The Villanova, that's the Rainbow. They still got the same red booths and stuff. So basically, Dean was hanging out the boat. And right before he died, he got that spider. He pulled up, and Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, said he had like a paranormal kind of. He's like, dude, he had a vision. Like, bro, you can't sell this car. If you don't, you're gonna die in it. And James, like, what the hell? Alan, just. And of course, he died like a couple days later, or a week later, whenever it was. And Dean, I mean, there's rumors about Dean. Again, you can't get to a level that he was at without doing a few shady things. I don't care. I don't want to bust anybody's bubble, but you're going to have to and continue to do said shady things. Yeah, but Dean was only around. Again, Dean was, he lived in New York. He studied with was it Stella Adler? Great. People don't understand about his Dean was one of the first, besides a few others, Brando and Montgomery Clift. But Dean brought that slower, more realistic acting style instead of like the gumshoe acting. Saying, come on. You watch James Dean, people are doing it. Watch Giant. You see these people, and that's how they wanted you to do. I guess they thought people acting was supposed to be. Dean was the one that kind of brought it back, slowed it down, the breathing and awesome, a genius in my mind. But a rebel, again, without a cause, perhaps. Hey, Indiana. Where's he from? Somewhere in Indiana. I used to know. And Dean would, when they were doing the Rebel Without a Cause, they used this certain bungalow at the Chateau Marmont. Now, the Chateau Marmont is this kind of legendary hotel on Sunset, kind of old school looking, looks like a castle. And they have the hotel, and behind that, they have these bungalows. And there's pictures of Dean and everybody else in that movie. They're like doing the table readings in this certain bungalow. We'll get to this bungalow here in a minute with John Belushi. It's the same bungalow. Anyway, so, Dean was going about his day. He had just finished his last movie, Giant, and he was under a gag order or some kind of order where you couldn't drive your car. You have to, we can't have you on your motorcycle doing all, because he was a, wild man. So he'd just gotten over shooting the film. They let him, okay, go buy your pour, go race, because he raced. And supposedly he was pretty good. He came in second, a couple times and won a few. So he'd been on, they shot Giant, in Texas. So he'd been on set. I'm sure he was itching to a little bit of money in his He's starting to get good reviews from East of Eden. Again, only one movie was out. People kind of didn't like Dean because he did change that acting style, and also he was in character. Don't talk to me, kind of. When you're on set, you don't want all the people. When you're on a set, it is exciting and people are happy and this, that. But man, it's like if you're like memorizing your lines or trying to get into character, the last thing you need is a bunch of cackling fools all around you, because there's set people and this and that. There's hundreds. If it's a big movie, everybody, and then the locals will show up, and it's just like, here, I need a little bit of shit. I need a little bit of leave alone. I get it, but that was standoffish. Dean was shy too, so he, people take that the wrong way. But all those pictures, you see pictures of him like in a tuxedo and at the table, like eating. That's the Villanova, which is now the Rainbow. That kind of blows my mind. Some things never change, I think it's the same family that owned the Villanova. I might be wrong. And that's weird about Hollywood. There's these places that you could change the name, this, that, and the other. They're tied to some kind of weirdo stuff. That's just how life is, I guess. The energies, what have you. You go into the Bow, and those red leather booths, been there many times. They're great. There's just a vibe. They have brass little things on them. Like, if a certain celebrity, that's their booth, you got to get up and go. Like if you're sitting in Slash's booth, I don't care how much money. They'll move your food, put you somewhere. You got to get up. Slash has showed up. Take your pizza and your beers and your girlfriend or whatever and go. You got to go outside on the patio, or if there's, who knows. You got to stand and eat your food. But Dean influenced generations to this day. I suggest if you're an actor, watch Dean. He was, hell. He had a presence. He was a master. So his death. So he's supposed to go to this race in Salinas. They had his Porsche on a trailer bed, and they were going to pull it, and they did. For a while, going there, and then they pulled over for lunch or whatever. Like, no, you know what? We need to get the bugs out of it. Let's get it on the road. And you're like, well, should we? So they did. Him and his mechanic, Ralph Woolerick or something like that. I know his name was Rolf. So there they go, and of course they're driving like madmen. He gets a ticket like an hour before he died. He got a speeding ticket. Pardon me. Because he's driving a Porsche Spider that's all, tuned up to race. They need to get a little, hey, again, the bugs out of it. Just go. He's being followed by like a station wagon with the trailer. And I think there was another car, You would think that he got that ticket, that he would have brought it down a few notches. Nope. Nuh-uh. Just give me the ticket. I'm gonna, and they go, just speeding down the, So they got to this certain intersection, and a guy, Turnip Seed, I forgot his first name. He was like a college student, turned in front of Dean. Now, supposedly he couldn't see Dean's car because it's a silver car. It's gray, asphalt. The sun's going down right before dark. It's still light, but. And he turned in, came out, boom, flip, And of course it killed Dean. And Ralph Woolerick, I think his mechanic, was thrown from it was bad. There's pictures out there that you can see that just crushed the car. And this Turnip Seed guy was ticketed for I don't know. And the sad thing about that is back then the cop made him hitchhike home. They wouldn't even give him a ride home. I don't think he knew who James Dean was either. A lot of people were like, James Dean, who's James? Again, he only had one movie out. But yeah, they made poor Turnip Seed, which technically wasn't his fault because Dean was speeding. He turned, there wasn't a stop sign there. And he had a broken nose. Can you imagine having that traumatic, knowing that you killed somebody accidentally, And then they just mosey on about his hitchhike home. Out in Salinas, there's nothing out there. There's no street lights. There's no nothing, especially back then. What do you mean I got to walk in the dark? Yeah. Like, wouldn't a cop like pick you up and go, let's just take it. Come on. No. Start hitchhiking. That is, some things are better that we've changed. I mean, you don't want to do that to someone. That's brutal. Of course, he's probably sore. You know, your adrenaline, he had to be sore. You know, his nose is busted. He had a hitchhike. You kidding me? And of course, he's never talked. I don't blame him. You know, he had every kind of, he probably had to go into hiding. Especially once Rebel Without a Cause came out and Giant. I mean, Dean has a following, man. You know, you didn't want to be doing an interview. Yep, I'm the one. They'd haunt you. And nowadays, docs. They dox you. So yeah, they poor Dean. To this day, if you drove by, I guarantee you somebody's pulled over where where he died. And they've changed the intersection. It's a little bit off. Like some people think it's here, and actually it's down. That, you know, it's not. For a while they thought it was there, and it turned out it wasn't. You know, the roads are different. They've changed the roads. It's a major road. This old 2-lane. You know, now it's a major road. And there's people out there. It's probably been blogged every day. I bet someone's out there. We're here. See, James Dean death scene. See. And then that car had like a weird kind of thing. His death car, the Porsche. George Barris bought it. The guy who did the Munsters cars and this, that, and the other. And it was kind of haunted. Like they did a tour with it around schools about like, you know, the dangers of speeding. And it fell like on someone, like a student, like broke his hip and this, oh God. And George Barris hit it. Like, okay. And what he did, this is the story. What he did is because people were trying to steal it, he put it on the roof of his place in Burbank. And it just disappeared. Actually, this even stranger than that. They put it on like it was going somewhere and they were, you know, transporting it somewhere. And when it showed up, it wasn't there. No one knows where it's at. I think the transmission has showed up, part of the motor, what have you, a back end, but no one knows. Is it some like rich Uber fan that has it in his living room and like over martinis? Like, look what I got, my new thing I bought. Yeah, the James Dean death car. That sounds like, is it in Japan right now? Could be. You never know. So moving on, John Belushi. Love John Belushi. My parents were funny. They loved. I remember as a kid, I watched the first. I was a little kid. I watched the first Saturday Night Live, the night it premiered. George Carlin, you know, and I love Belushi. I love Dan Aykroyd. You know, I love Bill Murray. All of them. Belushi was my favorite. The samurai, you know, deli, and it's everything he did. I connected with Belushi. And his movies, you know, Animal House and Blues Brothers. I mean, Blues Brothers are my favorite movies. I love Neighbors, the movie Neighbors. It kind of was released after his death. They had to like kind of edit it, you know, this, that. Awesome. Neighbors is awesome. The toe guy, and I forgot his name. They said it was funny. He goes, funny? That's about as funny as a gut full of pinworms. I love that line. There's certain little things that are worth us watching the movie because of that line. But Belushi, again, wild man, partying. I mean, Dan Aykroyd, while he was doing, and Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi were best friends. While he was doing Saturday Night Live, Dan Aykroyd rented like a building in Manhattan and turned it into like an illegal after-hours bar. It was making bank. He's a go-getter. He didn't have to. He's making money. He's coming. No, we need an illegal after-hours club. I guess back then that's what you did in Manhattan. And he would have like after SNL, Saturday Night Live, they'd go there and he would, and he had a bar and this, that. Again, illegal, of course. No code, no zoning, no liquor license. I think that's funny. That's he's courageous. He is, but I'm sure he couldn't do it for long. So yeah, Belushi had problems. John Belushi. Come on, we're all human. Yeah. We'll have insecurities, but he had handlers. See, he got to the point where it's like, oh, dude, we need somebody on him. We need and he again, you're a movie star. You're in Hollywood. It's kind of expected of you and pushed. I mean, but you're surrounded by these wild people. You're offered everything under the sun. Even if you're not a celebrity, if you're just a hanger on, you're just around. Come on, it's Hollywood, man. You're gonna even if you say no for like 6 months, you're okay, fine, okay, shit, leave me be, I'll do it. So Belushi, he again, you can't stop people from being who they are. You can't. How can you keep somebody from themselves? You can't. Or how many private bodyguards and therapists? It's just they're gonna find a way. So his last hurrah, he's living in New York, married, wife. He goes to LA. Shows up at his manager. I need money for a guitar. He's out of his mind. He's been up for days. And of course, they give him he's wanting to buy a guitar, which is bullshit. I mean, but they gave it to him. I mean, you're a movie star. You've got shit, And then he runs into Kathy Smith, who he starts partying with Kathy Smith. Now, who's Kathy Smith? Strange thing about Kathy and all this kind of connected stuff is that Kathy Smith was like I guess hanger-on, drug dealer, touring with the Stone. She was married to Gordon Lightfoot. Okay, the folk Gordon Lightfoot, and Gordon Lightfoot was a big star at the time. His wife Kathy Smith. Sundown is about Kathy Smith. Okay, as you lie sundown, you better. That's about Kathy Smith. Okay, and of course she's a wild woman. I guess. Gordon couldn't they get a divorce. I mean, this is the thing. Why couldn't she just mellow out a bit? You're married to Gordon Lightfoot. You got a mansion in the hills. What else do you need? I guess a lot of chaos in your life. Couldn't you just relax by the pool and just have like a beer? I don't know. I don't get people. They just running, I don't get it. And of course, she probably got some of that Gordon Lightfoot money. I mean, I'm not saying, hey, but don't you think that did she spend that all on drugs? I mean, I don't know. Poor Gordon Lightfoot. Obviously, she did. Because this divorce was before this Belushi thing. So Kathy Smith, wild, running around. Everybody knows her. She's kind of like you take her on tour so she'd hold the drugs for you and she'd go run and get this, that, and other thing. She's like a drug runner. I don't know, something like that. A drug roadie, if you will. Let's put it at that. Again, this is my own personal opinion. I'm just speculating. So she runs into Belushi, Gordon Lightfoot's ex-wife, and they, I guess, at a drug dealer's apartment, like in the living room, like, hey, I'm out wild, running, I've been up 2 or 3 days. Me too. They bonded over like stupid drug stuff. Let's hang out. I don't know if you met her before. It's supposed to be like Belushi was doing like cocaine. Then she's like, oh no, you need to try, like, I want to get some heroin. Heroin? You would have thought somebody would be like, no, no, but see, yeah, I'll dip my beak in a little bit of, nah, you shouldn't have. So they go somewhere else. Of course, he's got the cat, hey, and a BMW or whatever he's got rented, of course. So there they go. They're out and about, going around. There's tales of him like puke at Kathy, and of course they're going up and she's shooting him up. Come on. In the drug world, he has to be nursed, meaning he can't like shoot himself up. So he needs someone to nurse it. He needs someone to do it for him. So she was speedballs even. You would think that she would, okay. If you're in the drug game, you would know that people don't have a tolerance. You got to, babysit him a bit. I mean, come on, give him a little baby shot, something. Skin pop him. I don't know what you'd have to do, but no, she just, oh, no, hey, let's. So they're out and about running around. I think this went on for like a day or 2 days. Then Belushi's is staying in a bungalow at the Chateau Marmont. All right. The same bungalow that James Dean and the cast of Rebel Without a Cause did all the pre-production, all the script reading and hanging out, this, that, and the other cast, all that was the same bungalow that Belushi uh, was staying at. That's weird. They see there's these things that tie in. Like life is strange. Crime is strange and weird. Like there's these locations, especially in Hollywood, where man, sometimes some places nothing happens, and then there's other places it's just like over and well about due for another tragedy. I mean, I don't get it. Life's strange. So they go back to this bungalow, and of course this bungalow's been there forever. No telling what's happened in this bungalow. That's just what they're telling us. Hollywood, if you got money and power, I mean, you could basically, yeah, shit. So they go back to the bungalow. John Belushi and Kathy Smith. And who else is staying in the bungalow? Is Robert De Niro, like the bungalow next door. And then Robin Williams. So they have some guests over to party. Robin Williams and De Niro. Okay, like, huh? Really? Yeah, really. So, then, they do the thing. Robin actually found out what was going on. They went to the bathroom to shoot up John Belushi and Kathy Smith. And Robin was like, "Oh, he had a feeling like something's. I need to leave." Like, but even before he found out what happened that night driving home, he was like, "I'm changing my life. There's something I don't know what it is." He could feel it. And this is what Robin Williams said. So they left, and of course, Kathy and John, he. And how many times did he shoot him up? I mean, did she shoot him up? I don't know. And he's a newbie. She should have known better. So of course, they do drugs. She puts him to bed, and she just stays up all night. That's what she's doing. And of course, like she hears something, like he's snoring, whatever. She checks in on him. He's like, okay, whatever. Comes in the morning. She orders like coffee and tea, and then gets his keys and goes doing what she's gonna do. Probably score more drugs, whatever. Takes his BMW out, and so in the meantime, Belushi passes away. They call him. They can't find him. He's got a meeting. They know where he's at, and they send his bodyguard coming, and they find him dead. Tragic. Death of a legend. He had so much to offer, and you can imagine what else he was supposed to be in Ghostbusters. Bill Murray took his part. So they find him, and there's footage. Here comes Kathy Smith walking up, like, what's going on? You tell us what, huh? And then she gets arrested. She's, again, she's accessory to a murder, and she gets tried and she goes to jail. I think she did like 8 years. And man, again, it's sad. It's sad how life is. It's sad how kind of everything's intertwined. Belushi, Dean, huh? These tragedies have like this thread connecting them. The same bungalow that Dean and them and Natalie Wood and all these other, and God knows else who stayed there, it's the same bungalow that Belushi died in, killed by the ex-wife of Gordon Lightfoot. Like, huh? If there's a movie, would you believe it? Wouldn't you be like, oh no, there's no, see, this is too much to believe. I don't believe it. Well, believe. And of course, Belushi, it's just sad. It is just, again, you can't keep people from themselves. You always think afterwards, like, man, I could have did a little, I should have, I want to, no. Sometimes it's just, again, you're living your own life. You got your own problems. You got your own, you got to take care of yourself. I get it. But Hollywood is kind of cursed like that. Hollywood is city of angels. I mean, it's just I guess it always will be. Out of all the years that I lived in Hollywood, I lived in LA for 24 years. I lived in Hollywood proper for like over 10. Just getting into the Chateau Marmont, I never went in because there'd be parties and rooms. Like every night there's a party, somebody, a celebrity, whatever it used to be anyway. I got as far as the bar. I never got any past. Sometimes you couldn't get any to the parking lot. Like, nope, get out of here. And I didn't want to pay for parking, so I'd have to park down Sunset on the side street and walk up the Wander, no. And then have to walk back because you can't get in. And those rooms are small. Unless you're in a bungalow. Those bungalows are small. But those Hollywood rooms are small. The Chateau Marmont rooms are not like, it's not like it's been there forever. They probably built that like the silent film era or something, And it looks old. It looks like a French chateau. I think now it's a private, like, I don't even know if it is a hotel. I don't even know what it is. And that part of Hollywood, technically West Hollywood now, was always that's where you want to, right in front of the Chateau Marmont used to be a cool club. My band place called Coconut Teaser. I'm sure before that it was called something else. And go to the Coconut Teaser. I mean, see 5 shitty bands. I mean, just laugh your ass off. Good times. And again, Hollywood. What is going on? It's going to be, it's day one since shit. They used to be all like orange groves and, Hollywood. Then, moving pictures come in, then talking pictures. Da, 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 da. Now everybody goes crazy. Everybody's just living like you would not believe. Spending money. They never had any money. They have protection now. They can, oh my God, let's just freak out. I guess they did. But this celebrity deaths is going to be like a series. I'm going to talk about certain celebrity deaths, especially ones that kind of like intertwine years later. Like Dane died in like 55, I think it was, and Belushi died in like 82, yet they're connected. It not directly, but a thread of coincidences and same places, and it's strange. It's hard to wrap your mind around. And then you throw in Gordon Lightfoot. I just say, shit, what? Like a writer, if you're in a writer's room, like, oh, no, this is bullshit. Nobody's going to, pardon me, believe this. Who? You mean to tell me Gordon Lightfoot's that's what? Yeah. And James Dean used to be, don't get all that. All that. That's, do you really want celebrity? Do you really want to be famous? Is it such the stress of fame that you have to kind of blow off steam in extreme ways? You're just kind of just going crazy. Perhaps. Could be. But hey, their dreams came true. They changed, like they continue. Both those guys, James Dean and John Belushi, are continue to influence people. Their legacy, the work, the art they left behind. They only the good die young, kind of thing. It's sad, but it's continually going to happen. Probably the same. This is old school. What I'm talking about. I mean, if you're young, there's probably going to be more. There's probably been deaths in that chateau that bungalow behind the chateau that we just don't. They weren't famous, or they were like produced. Somebody you didn't know. Or they've probably covered up certain things. I don't know. See, maybe. The Villanova. Now it's the Rainbow. It's just weird. It's just weird. But look, I do this every day. Again, this celebrity death will be probably a series that I'm going to do. Because there's just so many. The well runs deep. Shit. You could do a podcast, a channel just on celebrity deaths for years, every day. But I do this every day. I rant about everything. Sometimes it's my personal life, sometimes true crime, sometimes paranormal. I'll do it. I'll be here tomorrow. But I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.